Welcome to Damsels in Dialogue, a podcast dedicated to the female protagonists in fiction, film, and the stage. Co-hosted by Katie Sutter
and India Marie Paul. Here at Damsels in Dialogue, we support the LGBTQ plus community and all women because trans women are women.
For our second season, we have wands at the ready, and we'll be discussing the women of the wizarding world. In this penultimate episode, we will discuss some of the featured witches of the series, including Cho Chang, Rita Skeeter, and the infamous Dolores Umbridge. We will also whip through a collection of witches and women that we passed along the way. All right, you know the drill. You have listened to enough episodes that at this point you know that we are being sponsored by different magical merch stores every episode because we are highly encouraging you to purchase your merch from small businesses. So today's episode is sponsored by Collivander's finest American wands since 2007. You can find their shop at colvanders.etsy.com, and you can find them on TikTok and Instagram as well. They're hoping for a restock soon. They do have a couple wands left in their shop, so snag those up if you are interested before you have to wait till the next restock.
And spooky season's almost over, so now is the time.
We love that. Yes. I just love all the wands. I want wands everywhere. I think it's
excited.
So cool.
I've been so excited to look at all the different ones. They're so fun. And it's been amazing. I've loved having different shops sponsored to see what they're making. And it's just magical and fun.
This was, we do love some magical merch,
Yes.
Referencing wands, we're actually talking about the first witch that we talk about is someone who we don't have a official description of her wand. It was made later for it was designed for the movie, and then they have tidbits of it at Ollivanders. But if you're going canonically from the books, there isn't an official one. So you can get whatever you want and make it your canon Cho Chang wand.
We promised we'd talk about her when we did the students, and she was just too important to not kind of take out and talk separately. So we're covering a lot of witches today. We're going to start with our lovely Ravenclaw. I really liked her when I first read the series and when rereading it. And I just feel like she had such a tragic arc that...
Yeah, there's some things that are frustrating when you go into it. Looking at her when you first read it and we're consuming the books and she's wonderful and I looked up to her. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's really smart. She's athletic. She's beautiful. She's like, oh my gosh, she's so popular. And then just to get some of the more not fun stuff out of the way, she does have two first names, or two last names, which is very frustrating. That even at the time that this was written, 5 seconds of Ask Jeeves could have fixed that for you.
Throwback.
You're welcome for that reference. Just a little bit of research would have helped. There's also the understandable concern of why, from what I read this time around, the only canonically Asian character that we meet is in the Smart House.
True.
So there's that as well. So, the actress had a hard time on set where they told her just ignore the racism that will be happening, which is, also not great. You can check her out. She's pretty vocal about what had happened to her on the set and everything. I think she did a phenomenal job. Should not have gone through what she went through. Just to get that kind of stuff out of the way, that wasn't even a matter of not aging well. It just shouldn't have happened to begin with.
Yeah. Well, that's what names can always have fun meanings and things. So to not even look that up is just frustrating. But we do meet her as the Ravenclaw Seeker. In book 3, you hear that she had some injury problems, so we get a past, why we haven't seen her before, which is kind of fun. We learn that she rides the Comet 260. I don't know why I wrote that down, but it's just really fun that we know.
Comet is a very popular brand. There are tons. And it's very important to her. She does truly enjoy Quidditch a lot, and just going on a quick Quidditch journey for Cho.
Yes.
She plays on the team. She is the Seeker. She is very talented as a flyer. Harry actually stops being distracted by her as a pretty girl because she is so good and knows that his broom will outstrip hers any day. So she uses different tactics to try and beat him and does give him a run for for his money. So that's pretty cool. You see her later where she does go to the tournament.
Yeah.
The final Quidditch World Cup, because obviously that is something she very much enjoys. You see her bringing up when they make DA, and she's right up there with Angelina. She's like, no, sorry, cannot be during my practices. Those are very important. You know, she really enjoyed that. And you do find that she rounds out the Quidditch world a little bit as well, because she introduces a Quidditch team that we did not meet prior to that, when she is wearing a badge that Ron promptly gets well, sorry Ron, your
ruins
team
the moment.
has not won in like anything in so long. Let her wear her tornado Quidditch badge. Let her support it since she was 6.
Yes.
Let a girl live.
And I wrote down, and correct me if I've written this down wrong, but she's the only girl on the Ravenclaw team.
Yep.
At least in book 3.
Yeah, when you meet her, she is the only girl on the team, and she's the seeker. She enjoys it. She takes it very seriously. I'll talk about her being a good conversationalist later, but she does bring up Quidditch into conversation with Harry. It's something that they bond over. She's really, really good. Like, Harry at one point, like, super awkwardly was like, the weather today. And she like immediately segues to like, ooh, you know what about this weather? Let's relate it to this Quidditch match, something you've done, etc., and gets right on it. It's definitely something that she enjoys a lot, and seems to be something that, at least in 2 of the boys that she's dated, is something that is important enough to her that it needs to be important to them too, because it is something that she enjoys, at least while she's at the school. And I love that about her. I thought that was really cool. I'm like, she's not just like the pretty popular girl. She's also a very talented Quidditch player.
I really enjoyed her character, and she does get hit pretty hard with tragedy in book 4.
Yeah.
It gets rough.
Now we've talked about her love for Quidditch.
Yeah.
I do love just a little more positivity before the poor thing gets trampled in book 4.
Yeah.
I do love that, like, she is so clever in how she flies, but she also, to me, it seems almost like she knows that she's pretty, but not in a mean girl way. Yeah. In a way that in book 3, is she interested in him, or is she flirting a little bit in this game to distract him? We're not sure.
We don't
you know, because she is quite clever and not super manipulative or anything.
No.
Because she is very much compared to Ginny a lot, and both her and Ginny have that aspect of they're aware that they're pretty, but don't do a whole lot about it, if that makes sense. Like, they don't make
use
a big
it
deal
to get
of it.
something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So in this aspect, like, you don't know, is she smiling at Harry in those moments to like distract him a little bit, or is she a little interested? We're not sure. But I did enjoy that about her too, because it was always like, you know, in high school and everything, it's like you do have those really pretty girls who can be the mean girls, and she is absolutely not like that at all.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool. I also enjoyed that her not enjoyed, I think it's good on her character, that when she sees in book 3 the Dementors coming on, it is onto the field, the not so dementory Dementors, coming onto the field. When she says "oh" and points at them, it's not only for her benefit. Like, she's been following Harry around this whole time, and like it's run through the school that Harry has a hard time with Dementors. So that "oh" that she said was not described as a shriek of fear, like, and surprise. To me, it read a little bit like getting his attention.
It was like a warning. It felt like she was like giving him a heads up, not trying to abuse the situation or not trying to freak out about it, but just being like, hey, something's coming. Like, let's heads up, you know?
Right. Yeah. Be warned. Going into the book that is book 4. Moment 4. So, I mean, it starts off pretty good with her, because you see her a little bit more. You get to see that she is very neutral. Like, she's not wearing the like,
Cedric,
Potter
badge,
stinks, Cedric rules badge, you know, not doing that. She also, when they're all giggling around Harry, when he has to speak with her, she takes it very seriously, and she like is very respectful of his feelings and others. And I really liked that about
Yeah.
her, that she
Yeah.
could read, like, this is an important moment.
Yeah, that she wanted
I
to
can
make
keep
sure
it
he wasn't
together.
embarrassed.
Yeah.
Ignored her giggling group of friends. Yeah.
Right. Because you kind of get the idea from the, like, casual looks, glances, smiles that she may have been interested in Harry
Yeah.
prior to this, especially when she seems genuinely sorry. When she tells him that she's going with Cedric instead. And even
Yeah.
then, she doesn't even think to tell him it's Cedric until Harry asks. And even how she says it, Cedric.
Yeah.
Cedric Diggory.
Like almost apologizing. Yeah.
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 So it's very, the ball itself is interesting to me because I what would have happened if, this is lots of what ifs,
Yeah.
if she had gone with Harry, instead of
Yeah.
Cedric, because she didn't start dating Cedric until after the ball.
Mm-hmm.
What would have been different if the two of them spent a whole evening
Yeah.
together with Cho's great conversational skills, make him feeling at ease and everything. Because Cho
Well,
and Ginny are very similar. They're very similar.
Yeah.
In
what we get
in
of
different aspects.
Yeah, and what we get of Cho after the book is a direct response to the fact that she was dating Cedric and he is killed. The Cho of book 5 is a direct response to the death of Cedric. So if Cho wasn't dating Cedric, she might have been completely affected by, obviously, what happened. But
of course, as everyone,
would not have
a lot
been
of
the
people
same
were.
path, and her and Harry probably wouldn't have had so much tension and awkwardness that they do when they try to date after. So it's like,
because I think they do work together. Like them
do
as a
too.
couple, I think works really well. They do. She is similar to Ginny. They're still two very different girls.
Yeah.
But in the ways that they go well together is, she is clever.
Yeah.
She is smart. She can keep up with Harry and his friends. That way, she can be playful, not quite as much as Ginny is, but she can be playful in moments where, she is the first described fully formed Patronus created at the DA, and it's a swan.
Yeah.
And Harry's like, hey, look, there's a very serious creature that we need to take very seriously. And she's like, oh, come on. Like,
Yeah.
what was the exact wording? She said something like, oh, yes. She said, so they're doing the Patronuses. And
Yeah.
she tells Harry playfully to not be a killjoy.
A killjoy.
Is what she says. Don't be a killjoy. And like,
Yeah.
we're playing these beautiful
We're making
things we
shiny, pretty
summoned.
things. Like,
Yeah,
calm
come
down.
on. She just like made a beautiful, pretty swan,
Yeah.
So she can be a little playful. She obviously is talented and can keep up with them. She has that Quidditch aspect, their love of something similar. And they do have, even after book 4, they have that bond of more so than most of the other students, I would argue, at Hogwarts in book 5. They know the stakes.
Yeah.
They understand what is to come. And she never stops believing Harry.
Yeah, that was never a question, which is really nice that he's always believed by her that she really just wants someone to actually process the whole thing with in book 5.
Yeah.
Like, that's what she just wants, to talk to Harry and process what happened. And that's why I get upset. She does so much lifting in book 5 for that relationship. It's ridiculous.
Does. And it's not like Harry doesn't want it. Like, Harry has had a crush on her for years at this point.
Yeah.
So it's like, what? Why is she...
She pulls that along.
Right? And she is such a strong human. She is such a strong human. Has to, she sees... Even from the start, the little things. She sees Cedric walking up to talk to Harry after the ball as she's patiently waiting for him, letting them talk. And I'm sure those thoughts are going through her head as he goes up to talk to somebody who also asked her to the ball.
Yeah.
Of like,
is this going to be a thing? Are we cool?
Do I stay with Cedric?
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Because we are not sure when Cedric, we just know it happened after the ball. So we don't know if it was that night. We don't know if it was during it. We don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows what kind of thoughts that were going through her head when she watched that conversation happen and kept it together. Even after the final trial, she is sitting in silent tears. She's never described as hysterics.
No.
She does cry, but she is never.
She's not like loud
she keeps it
sobbing.
Very, very well.
Yeah.
No. She pulls it together a lot, which she shouldn't have to. The poor thing.
No.
Cedric has died, and she's probably having similar emotions too. Of Harry, someone she had a crush on at some point and was kind of could
The
be
amount
close
of-
with, brings your boyfriend's dead body back.
Oh my God, the amount of emotions that she must be going through, dealing with like guilt of liking Harry still, and confusion and dealing with death and trauma. It's just so much. I do appreciate the amount of complex emotional depth that Cho has to deal with.
She truly does.
This
my
series.
gosh. Yes. And she like clings. I totally get it. Like grief is a crazy thing. I do appreciate that it is established that she may have like been interested prior to Cedric's death in Harry, because I think it makes it that double whammy. It's like, I feel comfort in you because I've had feelings for you, but I also we have been through a similar connection with Cedric.
Yeah.
She is so good about bringing him into the conversation, reading the room, seeing that he wants to talk to her but isn't sure, and like flips on onto other things to help. Even when he's giving one-word answers, she's asking questions and keeping it going, because she can tell, that he's still interested. He's just
horrified. Like, he's not horrified. He's just like terrified of what to do. He doesn't know how to handle it. He doesn't know what to say.
He's a year younger. He's never dated. Like, and she sees that, reads the room, and goes with it. I do love, there's two moments of this scene that is really, really sweet in book 5 that is not in the movies. They do take this moment and put it into movie for it. Harry catches her in the owlery, and she has just run upstairs to send a gift to her mom because she had just remembered it was her birthday that day. So she's sending her off a gift, which is super thoughtful. They take that moment and then make it the moment in the movie for when Harry asks her out, which is still very endearing. She does a great job at being like, what? What did you say? Actually, like very sweet. But I do like the full scene in book 5 because we do get the moment of her very sweetly sending a gift to her mom. They have the full conversation, and then Filch comes.
Yes.
And this is my second favorite moment of the scene, where she immediately tells off Filch. In defense of Harry. And like he leaves, and she's almost a little like surprised of it herself, but like keeps it together and like turns back to him and goes, "Oh, Umbridge is the worst." She's
I love that. Just covers for him immediately.
Is what she calls
like,
him.
I really like that moment.
Because it's not just her. Her having a crush on Harry, it's her also against this woman that they both dislike. That's really cool.
It just shows she's a great judge of character. It also shows her cleverness and her wit, because she just immediately jumps on it, and her complete blind protection of Harry. Because then I like what she asked, like, you really weren't doing anything bad, right? Like, after Filch is gone, like, what did I just cover for? Wait a minute.
We're good.
Yeah, I really like that. Oh, it's really sweet.
No, it is very sweet. She did have that moment with Ron where he was like rude to her, but clearly she didn't let that bother her too much, because the very next time we see her, she is walking into that initial meeting before they named it the Dumbledore's Army, and she sits by Ron. Now the seat next to Harry is taken by Ron and Neville, but she could have sat by Neville, and instead she sits by Ron. Part of me thinks that could be she knows Ron is his best friend.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
And not as an in, but as a just like, see, we're cool. We're fine.
Like inserting self into periphery.
Yeah. Later in this book, you don't totally know what's going on with her. Yeah. You just get the snippets of her, and she's interested, and she's like dragging this friend who clearly doesn't want to be there to these meetings, and you see her complimenting Harry, and like Hermione asking who the leader is, and she's like, obviously it's Harry. Like, why would you? Yeah. Being very active in Harry's life and everything. Yeah. And it isn't until later in the book that you see really what she's going through, because once again, similar to Ginny, we are seeing her through his eyes. We are not seeing her in her own little moment. So we don't get to hear what's going on in her head. We just get to see what happens, which is very tragic when you think about it, because the stuff that she goes through and the stuff that she does do, because it starts out with like, oh, she's a little nervous about her spell work around Harry, and then it turns to, like you said, like hauling this relationship along.
Oh my gosh.
She tries to set up this like sweet moment where she, is gonna talk to Harry and tell him, and it's super brave to tell somebody how you feel about them. She's gonna pull him aside before the holidays, and gets caught up in the emotions of what if Cedric had known all this. And I think Harry's answer is beautiful to her.
Yeah.
And it's very well said of he did. Once Voldemort's decided that you're dead, you're dead. She didn't mean to get so upset. And she says as much. Like, the poor thing, she's like, she had geared herself up like, okay, this is it. I'm going to tell him we're going to date. It's going to be good. And then like, the poor thing.
Yeah, she just needed someone to just let her cry and to talk to her about how hard it was to see that and to deal with it so that she can move on.
I think she wanted something normal too.
Yeah.
I think she wanted the normalcy of just being with a boy she liked, because this is the only time she brings up Cedric that could potentially be a big alone time conversation to unpack this stuff. Yeah. And she doesn't. She mentions this one thing, they have it, and she's like, she pulls herself together. She's like, I'm so sorry. That's not why I brought you here today. Like, you know? So like there's a lot of sides to that, you know? And she does tell him, they do get together. They do snog, as they say.
Yes.
They do spend 30 minutes together before they leave. So they still like enjoyed each other's company. What makes me frustrated from this point on is not anything that she does. It's actually because I also think it's a little out of character for Harry. Obviously, Cho's going through a lot, so it totally makes sense that he's like not completely understanding what she's going through. Yeah. But he's never been like ignorant to people's feelings. Which is strange to me. Like the first thing when he says, when they're all like, oh, how'd it go with Cho? And they're so excited to hear. And it's this girl he's wanted to be with for years. Yep. And yes, it started a little strange. But you're still not thrilled about it?
Yeah, like how are you not just like jumping off the wall? Yeah,
a little and that made me so mad. It's so anticlimactic.
Little like puppy love, a little sweetness, like
that would
something.
have been good for him too. Like both of them needed that in this crazy year. Yeah, and we almost get it. When it is a very cute moment. I didn't mind this as much when she's like trying to suggest like, please ask me out on Valentine's Day. Yeah. And he like doesn't quite get it. I'm like, that felt very like 15-year-old boy to me. Yeah. Yeah. That moment I didn't mind, because even then she's like, oh, okay. And like walks away and he's like, wait, never mind.
We're good. Yeah.
So
that was sweet.
That didn't bother me as much, because that was kind of cute. They're heading there, and he sees he's so nervous leading up to it too, which I thought was endearing as well. He's like, I'm so used to talking to you guys. Like, what do I talk to her about? Like, what do I do? Yeah. And she makes it so easy. And that's what he says. He's like, she makes it so easy to talk to, and it's so comfortable. And you see this sweet romance and relationship that could have happened for the few months that would have been potentially really good for these two characters. And then he proceeds to wreck it once he gets to Madame Like, proceeds to just throw it down the trash, and it makes no sense to me.
It wasn't like awkward doing the wrong thing because he's nervous. It was just like being completely ignorant of what is happening and the fact that you're on a date.
So ignorant. If it was nervous, that'd be one thing. But like Harry's not an ignorant human. He's very good with people. So it doesn't make sense that he would be this ignorant. And you see all the different ways before she gets up in tears and runs off. Like all the different ways she tries to deflect. She like puts her hand closer to him. Like maybe we can save it. Like let's have
puts
a
her
moment.
Hand on the table. Grab her freaking hand, man. I don't know how. Like I don't know how to make it clearer for you.
It's hard. You'd think you'd want to. Yeah, you'd think you want to. And then when he's weird, he starts to get weird. And she's like, oh, well, you know, I turned him down to come here with you. So there's another way to be like,
being a jerk.
Please get it together. And she's so polite. She's not going to tell him he's being an ass. Like,
she should have.
She should have. He deserved it. Yeah. So by the time that she does, you know, when he's like, oh, yeah, when are we done? I'm going to go meet Hermione later. Excuse you? First of all,
felt so rude.
I'm talking about this with Hermione. That was rude of Hermione to even suggest they meet there and do that.
Yeah. Excuse you.
That was a really weird thing. But to Harry, what? You're not an idiot. Like, I don't think he would have lied to her, but he would have said that in a different way. I feel.
I feel like he would understand how rude he was. Like, he's not someone who, like, says things accidentally rude.
Yeah. And he's not reading as nervous.
Yeah, that's what, he's not nervous. He seems like he doesn't want to be there.
Which doesn't make sense. I get that you're out of your comfort zone. You're in a Philly tea shop that you've never been in before. I totally get it. Yeah. But she has given you so much opportunity to talk. Yeah. Like, it just seems, it just seems strange to me. And it seemed not great for her because, I mean, they've talked about Quidditch. She brings up the lack of Dementors being here since the Azkaban outbreak. There's like so many things they could have talked about.
It felt like the writer was trying very hard to not make them work after she had written a character. Yeah, as he'd written a character he could work with.
Yes.
Like it just felt like it was forcing them apart.
Yeah. I literally wrote, this is so upsetting to me. There are other ways to make them not work out. And just making Harry seem like an ass to her feels cheap and wrong.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
And even then here, they haven't broken up yet.
No, they didn't. Like, she didn't break up with him.
She still thinks that he's brave for doing this interview. She seeks Harry out to apologize for Marietta's behavior, which is, I applaud her for that. That must have been a really tough thing to do. Yeah. That your best friend just did the worst thing. She says, like, I never would have imagined she would have done that, or I wouldn't have brought her. Like, you know?
Yeah. Like, so, she can't even have a best friend who's not complicated.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's just
the poor thing. Yeah, so she's the one who comes. Harry doesn't think twice about what she must be going through if that her friend just did this.
Yeah.
You see her trying to talk about her friend because she wants this to work. She wants her and Harry to work. Yeah. So she does. She's like, okay, she's normally not like this. Like, she's normally nice. I don't know what happened. Yeah. You know, and is trying to like make that bond. Yeah. We need this to be copacetic, you know?
She tries so hard.
Harry jumps right down her throat and is like, absolutely not. She is the worst. How dare you? Yeah. Which then she retaliates because now you're just being rude to her after she went up and did this. Yeah. Talks about how it was super crazy of Hermione to jinx this paper whale sign without asking anybody or telling anybody, which I would agree.
I'd agree for that, yeah.
I would agree. Please jinx it and tell everybody. I don't mind that she jinxed it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because that
but
was a big,
they should know what they're signing.
A big deal because they should know the gravity of what they are committing to, because then she wouldn't have been there to begin with. Marietta would have been out town. We wouldn't have had to deal with that. Yep. Yeah, I understand that they get into a fight and then he brings up Hermione and she does and they talk about her and it ends with well, fine, you be with your darling Hermione and walks off. I get it, girl.
Yeah,
I get it.
She worked way too hard and tried far too long to make that work. She was getting
It's just so
nothing.
Frustrating.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating because then right after this they continue to just like pin Ginny and Cho against each other, and it doesn't make any sense.
Now we're just being catty.
Yeah,
like that was just,
and that continues like this weird cattiness that Ginny has to Cho. It doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. And then you tighten that even further by giving Cho Ginny's ex, which also that also seemed just weird to me. I'd like to think that blush at the end of book 5 that he sees when they're on the train and leaving. Yeah. I'd like to think it could be a couple different things. It could be being her little coy about like things ended weird with them, you know, and now she's with somebody else already, or still getting over him a little bit, or even thoughts of what could have been. And yeah, girl, I'm thinking it too, because what the heck? Yeah. There are so many ways, so many different ways that they could have broken up, and it's still, because Cho is still like, book 6, we only get her when she darts into her train compartment when she sees Harry, because she's still very nervous. Yeah. Doesn't want to talk to him. But book 7, that's her final year at Hogwarts. Yeah. And she comes back. She keeps the galleon and comes back to fight in the Battle of Hogwarts. And not only comes back to fight, but has come back willing to help Harry and assist him, gives up information about the diadem and everything. Like she is still with his cause, and she didn't have to come back to the school. No. So I'm like, there are other ways you could have broken up that relationship that wasn't dumb. And later, this also seems a little strange to me because of her coming back and fighting in the battle, and she does survive the battle. Yeah. It seems weird to me that she goes off and marries a muggle.
And moves away from the wizarding world, right? Like completely.
It just seems strange to me because like she loved Quidditch still. I mean, it's arguable that she could have been captain 7th year.
For sure.
You know? It's frustrating to me.
That ending that ending feels like playing on the trauma that she just can't take it anymore. But she can, because she comes back.
Take it, if she couldn't take it, we wouldn't see her again.
Yeah.
She returns.
Yeah. That's why it doesn't make any sense to me. If she didn't return and she had like started fading herself away from it because it was too much and it was overwhelming and she just wanted to get out, then okay, like
sense.
that's tragic, but it's a path. But you don't come back and fight in the war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes me very frustrated. So obviously, you can probably tell from how I'm speaking on her, I really, really, really love Cho as a person. I wanted to be her when I was reading it. I'm like, she is so cool.
Yeah.
So it's super frustrating how it ends.
She deserved better.
Yeah. But heading to somebody who
did not deserve better.
did not deserve better. But always seems to come out where she wants to be.
You
so,
know,
I mean, get it, girl. We have the infamous, glorified gossip columnist, Rita Skeeter.
Oh, God. She is such a fun villainous character. And the way she's dressed, like, I wrote down, like, every description of her because she is introduced with elaborate, rigid curls.
Fantastic.
Yes. Jeweled spectacles, thick fingers, 2-inch nails, and a crocodile handbag. I'm like, okay, immediately I understand where we're at. And I love it.
We meet her in book 4. There was talks of she was almost named Bridget. She was almost named Bridget and was going to be in the first book as somebody who interviews. She like jumps on Harry walking into Lake Cauldron right away and was like, oh my gosh. The famous Harry Potter. The author decided to remove that and change it up to wait until the moment that Harry's fame turns against him.
Nice. That makes sense.
That is why she is introduced book 4 with this Tri-Wizard tournament that already is getting a lot of press. And this is, Rita is what turns the public against him.
Yeah. She has a lot of power. She has a lot of readers.
And I don't think she realizes, and maybe she does. I don't know. Does she know how many readers she has?
I think
does
she
not
knows
realize
the exact number.
Quite the depth.
I think she knows the exact number.
Has it tabbed?
Yeah. I have a feeling that she adores spreading the gossip and having people talk because she's puppeting it. I love her magic quill. It is such a fascinating enchantment.
So it is a quick quills pen, which is a an item you could just buy in the Wizarding world. But I think what's interesting about it is that it knows her so well. Like she has attuned to this quill where it takes notes as she wants them to be taken.
It's
not as they are said.
I love it. It's such good comedy when like he starts reading what is actually being written.
Yes.
I'm like, this is gold. I love every part of it.
And she breaks the fourth wall a bit.
Yes.
In that moment too, by getting in the cupboard and saying, you must be very comfortable here. Okay, so does she know that he lived in a cupboard?
Yeah, like how do you know that?
Like,
what are your sources? How like yeah, she's
there were a lot of spiders in that cupboard. Like her little beetle form would not have survived.
Yes, and I did appreciate that she is so invested in her job that even though she's in 2-inch nails and this outfit and like that she hops in the cupboard, sits on a bucket, and tries to get an interview. Like
anything to get the scoop.
Yes, it's it's such a good image. She shows up randomly to Hagrid's class.
Oh yeah, because she's not allowed in the school. She's not allowed in the school, so she starts pushing the boundaries by going to Hagrid's first to try and get details.
And the fact that Dumbledore doesn't like her so much that like she hides the quill as soon as Dumbledore shows up when she's allowed into the picture taking and things, and flat out says she's not allowed in the castle anymore. Like, what did she do? How bad was it that she got banned from ever coming in? That's interesting to me.
She did. The articles she wrote were not great. She is also a character who's introduced. You hear about her before you meet her. And she had already written a bunch of like scathing articles that year about the Quidditch World Cup and the events that happened there. She had just found out about Bertha Jorkins. Which they were just like waiting for that shoe to drop. Her like outing that. Yeah, I'm sure he didn't want these kids' lives twisted around.
Yeah.
In this way.
It makes sense why she's banned, but it's such an interesting thing that I wonder if she wrote something specific or in general he's just like no press at the school.
Can't stand
you don't really hear about anyone else coming in, so it's just her.
Something that I just wanted to mention because it feels very it smells like a TERF. She is described as having large, mannish hands.
Uh-huh.
And she's a villain who dresses overly, like exaggeratedly feminine. And I didn't like that. I was good. I was with it until she said the large, mannish hands. I'm like,
That felt,
why are we villainizing that? Why?
And also the fact that you built a character that feels like that it didn't quite like fit with what you were trying to build in general. So to throw that in does
feels a little turfy. Feels a little
that
feels a little
little
I don't like that.
odd.
Don't like that.
No.
But anyway, just really wanted to state that because that rubbed me the wrong way and wanted to see if anybody else felt
I can see that.
the same. She does continue to wreck the rest of the year, or attempts to, by writing a bunch of just all over the place articles about people getting sources. We find out later she is using Pansy Parkinson and Draco Malfoy as direct sources, worming her way into the Yule Ball to write things about Hagrid. Yep. So she's pretty, the fight has begun, and she does not care who she takes down on her personal way to the top. This is when I think the moment of the Hermione feud happened.
Yeah.
They're at the Three Broomsticks, and Hermione is going off at her, and she looks at her and says, "Sit down, silly little girl."
Yes.
And then the war began.
Yep.
Between the two of them.
Hermione calls her horrible and thus created an arch enemy with a huge audience. Yep.
So she, like I mentioned, writes all these scathing articles. Then you see the trio kind of managing that. And then by the end of the book, you see that she's getting the scoop because Hermione has caught her in her unregistered animagus form, the beetle, which, much like other animagus, she has the markings of her glasses on her beetle form.
And gets kidnapped. She is a prisoner in a jar.
For a week.
Like, that's...
As a beetle. And you see how good Hermione takes care of Crookshanks.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. She probably forgets to give her leaves or whatever. Yes, she deserved to be caught, but it does very much bother me that she was imprisoned and kidnapped away from... It just gets worse. She takes a big downward spiral after that.
Nosedive. Now, she is an unregistered animagus, which is a big deal in the world. And so with that, it does have some consequences. So she could get in big trouble if they find out. So it is understandable. I do like the reveal of Hermione, showing them the beetle and being like, this is her. And then maybe she gets rid of her later. Or she transforms in front of them, whatever. I do think it's interesting that she is confident enough to show her bug form to certain people to get the goods. I don't know if maybe they didn't know that she was an animagus and maybe they thought it was a bewitched beetle or something along those lines. We're not really sure what she tells people to get this information. Yeah. Because also she's the only animagus we hear of that is not an animal. Yeah. So she's a bug. So we're not, and this could be something because she knows what she's doing. This could have been a clever thing. Maybe she manipulated the potion in a way that she could get away with it being a bug. And that's what helps her be so sneaky because maybe she can. And there's that play on words like you've been bugged. Like it's bugged. That's how
it's cute.
Know information. Like I get it. But we don't know what she's telling people when she's like, talk to this bug. That if it's her or if it's something else. But it is interesting because is she just that confident that she has enough on people?
Oh, probably.
That she's okay? Like, who knows? Or does she figure out a different way to tell them, explain the bug away? We don't know. Book 5, as you were saying, she jumps off the deep end.
No, she just,
or is forced, pushed off the deep end.
Blackmailed. She gets blackmailed with all the consequences of being revealed. And part of me is like, I get the justice feeling of being like, if you write horrible things about people, I'll tell them the secret that I know. But she gets blackmailed to unemployment. And that bothers me a lot. Like, she does not have a livelihood because this child is holding the secret over her head. Like
this woman has gold teeth. Like, did she have to sell those? Like, because her manicure's all chipped when we meet her again. Yeah. Her clothes are not great. I think her bag is it's
just all a mess. Too. Like, it's all a mess.
And that's been 1 year. And then Hermione's like, nah, but you're gonna write this for free.
Pay the woman.
And it becomes the best selling thing there,
which proves she's not bad. Like, the subject was obviously good. But like, she's not a bad writer.
No, I think she's a brilliant writer, and that's why she's so popular. She just writes everything on her terms.
Yeah, she can craft a story. Yes, it's blackmailed for a year, can't find work because she's blackmailed, and then has to write this article for free.
And I think that's when she went, I give up.
Yeah.
Dumbledore dies, the Ministry completely, and just like that, no, you don't want to believe it, but everybody knows they're all infiltrated by Death Eaters kind of moment. And she spends the rest of her time using what we assume she used Veteraserum on the Bagshot to get all the details about Dumbledore and then twist them in her own way to make the life and lives of Albus Dumbledore and be the first person to get that out, because she shows up at Dumbledore's funeral with a notebook. Yeah. And that was when she decided, screw it, Hermione. This is too big. Yeah. I haven't been paid in so long. You can't tell me she wasn't living large after that book came out.
For sure. For sure. And I wrote this, it was a 900-page book and published 4 weeks after his death. So she could have been cooking up some of the stuff for a while, but she went hardcore so fast, and she wrote 900 pages.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. He dies. She knows Bathilda Bagshot.
Yeah. Done.
She interviews her immediately and has magic.
Yeah. And what's so fascinating to me about this scandalous tell-all is that we're led to believe by the end of the book that what she actually writes is true about Dumbledore. Yeah. Which is
bits of it are true.
Yeah. About
still
his family
like embellished
and stuff.
in like her own way.
Yes,
but yeah, absolutely. The core, the bones of it, if you will, are true.
Yeah, which I think is even more fascinating that she actually writes, probably a little bit more embellished biography, but the core facts and the scandal is there and real.
A lot of it is. The only times she like makes up stuff is her fight with Hermione, because everything else is based on facts.
It's just fascinating to me that she becomes a source of truth by the end of it, after having been this supposed like gossip the whole time. Like, no, she's
hasn't
good
changed
at
at all.
Yeah, she hasn't changed at all.
No, she's good at what she does. Yeah,
she's a good antagonist. It does bother me that a child blackmailed so hard. Put her like that bothers me.
Yeah, but that's not on her.
That's not on her. She just has to deal with it. Which probably was the worst year of her life.
Yes.
I can't even imagine.
She is thriving, though, because this character, even though she is really not in that much of the books, she is in almost every video game that is made. Yeah. They have found ways to add her, even brought her in for games that happen prior to the events of the books. She, fun fact, is born the same year as Bellatrix Lestrange. So if they went to Hogwarts together, it is not far-fetched that they would have been in the same year. And even also more so not far-fetched that as someone who is cunning and clever and has that goal and gets it no matter what, could have been a Slytherin.
Yes, I could see that.
And been in a dorm with Bellatrix. So that is our Rita Skeeter. And, you'd think things would go up from here, but they don't, guys. They don't. Because we are talking about next who arguably might be one of the best written characters in the series.
I'd agree with that.
And I think that's why you have those memes of it, all this stuff of like, who's your least favorite character in Harry Potter and why is it Dolores?
Yeah.
Why is it Umbridge?
Dolores
Who's the worst
Umbridge.
person, worse than Voldemort? Umbridge.
Yeah, there's a core evil to her. And this is actually very similar to like Thanos in the Marvel universe, where they think they are doing good. And those are the scariest villains. Like Voldemort wants power. Right. But she thinks she's doing the good thing. Like she thinks she is in moral rights.
Right. And what's terrifying too, in addition to that, is she believes everything Voldemort believes.
Yes.
But is not a Death Eater and not on his... She's on his side, but not on his side.
Yeah, she would never... Like, it's not... Yeah, she's the law.
Insane. It's scary when you think about that. It's very cleverly written.
Yeah.
This villain that is introduced in book 5. You meet her at Harry's trial, where Fudge is just trying to discredit Harry this whole year. So you do get a little taste of her before she does make it to the school. She is described as frog-looking.
Yep.
But in lots of pinks, has a very girly voice.
Yeah. Such good contrasting. Yeah. Like it's also great because she's so contrasting. Her pinks, her girlish voice, her curls, her kitten plates. Like she's like just like a small person, but wields so much power. It's so good
when done
just
right.
Such a good villain.
Yeah, like yikes, and she really like slowly sinks her teeth in to this school and the world, which is it takes a lot to get her to that end point where she's just running around like a chicken with her head cut off. Because, she really takes her time digging into the school. And you see that at the beginning for anyone who wants to go back and reread it to really pick it apart as Hermione did. Yeah. Her opening speech where she interrupts Dumbledore and wants to also make a speech at the beginning of the year is on page 213 of book 5. This is where you really see... what the rest of the year is going to be like, treating everyone like they're in elementary school.
Yeah.
Not 11 to 18-ish. There's a whole year of adults in that room.
Yeah.
That are students in wizarding terms. But then that just like slightly clever word use, clever manipulative word use.
Yeah. So she's the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher.
Yes.
And flat out's like, no magic. Not going to use magic, which is absolutely ridiculous. And then doesn't actually teach anything. She just has them read the book. No, she just makes them
read, which is so
she's not even pretending to be a teacher. Because that's not what she's there to do.
She's like, this is how we're going to teach everything now. And then like weaseling her way into High Inquisitor, all these things. And she reads to me very, we love you, Miss Hannigan.
100%. Well, even the response where she demands they respond to her very specifically is such a power move. And it immediately sets up who she's going to be. Oof.
Yeah. She has this ongoing thing with leading to what we talked about before of her ideals matching up with Voldemort's, even though she does not see herself as a Death Eater or a villain.
Yeah.
She does not like half-breeds and calls Lupin half-breed.
Yeah.
She is full of and probably starts a lot of the Ministry propaganda. She was the backer of the werewolf legislation.
Yeah.
And she also campaigned to have the mer people tagged.
Yes. Like, oof.
What?
Yep.
What?
Yep. That purity. Like she wants that pure.
Terrible. And with that purity, she later in the books, she takes, which is so funny to me because she does not know what it is. She has this locket that she's taken off Mundungus Fletcher.
Yeah.
Does not know that it is a relic of Salazar Slytherin himself, and instead passes it off as the name of a different pure blood family because she is not, in fact, pure blood. But wants to be. So she states in book 7 that S stands for this pure blood family.
It's family heirloom.
She's a part of. Like, no, ma'am. I mean, it's funny. It's ironic that it's actually from Salazar Slytherin, but like, she has this crazy belief in that. She also going on along with how terrible she is. A lot of this stuff, reading it, I think is easier to chew than seeing it. I think I did mention this in the after hours for the movie that she's in, that I think they did an excellent job keeping true to the character, but not going quite as hard as the books do. Yeah. Because she, unlike the movies where she sits and waits patiently and is just like looking off, just girly waiting for Harry to use the quill for his detention that carves into the back of his hand. In the books, she is excited to hand him this quill. Yeah. And she is happy when he cries out. She loves the idea of physically abusing these kids.
Yeah.
And
of punishment and of
that's terrifying.
It helps lead to later on when she threatens Harry with a cruciatus curse
Yeah.
to get information.
Yeah.
Like,
and she thinks about it a lot. She's like justifying it. She justifies everything she does with, well, he would understand what he doesn't know will be fine. I just need to get this information. Yeah. This will work, right?
Yeah.
This will work.
Well, yeah, that's why she's crazier than Voldemort, because Voldemort understands that he's doing evil things and thinks and justifies
to get what he wants.
Means. Yeah, like it's he
wants to not die. Yeah, and wants to surround himself with people he wants to be around with.
Yeah, she justifies it as if she's still doing the good thing.
Yeah,
and that's terrifying, and that's why she's so good. That's why she's such a good, interesting villain, and that's why she's pure evil. She is the devil in pink. It is like, and
it's so good. Like, even she's bad when Snape is even like, what? Yeah. Like the conversation. I mean, we all love that line. You applied for the defense against the dark arts, but you were unsuccessful. Obviously, it's just A+. And then when he comes in later and like gets her, and she's like, I need more Viserion. Like, you used it all. And in the movies, they do say you used the last of it on Miss Chang. Yeah. But in the books, still it runs out. He's like, I can get it to you in a month. Like, but very like bluntly.
Yeah. Like, he's over it. He's not.
He's so over you. Yeah. Because he's had to be at her beck and call with all these potions and all these things this whole time, Yeah. So, it's tough. Their little bits are very interesting and entertaining. Her and Minerva's back and forth.
Good.
It's so good. I know we talked about it in this Minerva's episode, but just that the battle over, I will personally train Harry to be an Auror. Like,
oh my gosh, that battle that had nothing to do with Harry at all was fantastic. And I did appreciate that how she treated each teacher was so different in the inspection. Because
they were all very different.
It was so different. She walked all around the room, and Trelawney's made her nervous. Asked her to just predict something, which is such a bitch move. We walked around Hagrid's and like talks about him in the middle of his class. So he was having a nice class, and she ruined it. Like, she purposely made
it bad. Yeah. And then you hear from the twins that in Flitwick's, she just like was quiet and stood in the back the whole time, and then like pulled aside Alicia at the end.
And like Minerva, she attempted to like kind of put her foot in, and then got shut down, and then stopped.
It's just so She already had preconceived notions of how she's going to treat. Teacher and students.
And student,
she's just, everything about her is like belittling, childish, condescending. And that's why it's kind of great in the end that she does. I mean, I hate what she does to the centaurs, but like she deserves everything they do to her. Yeah. Taking her away and punishing her. Yeah. For everything.
Yeah. You cheer when the twins ruin her first day as the headmistress. You cheer when the teachers don't help her. When Peeves runs her out of the castle, when she tries to sneak out at the end of book 5.
Yes. Like all of that. You're like, yes, get it. You have made this bed and now you're sleeping in it. We do hear from her in book 6, just that apparently she's told people that Harry wants to work for the ministry later as an Auror. Don't know why she's talking about it.
I feel like the new minister probably asked her what she knew about Harry, and she like automatically probably made him like her best friend because the minister wanted it. I feel like she was just playing a game with the new minister to get
that could totally
be
good
it. Side.
Because when we see her in book 7, that image. Like in the movies, it's done so well. Like, it's just beautiful of her sitting up there with her little Patronus cat, walking back and forth as she's just interrogating people left and right.
Well, in book 7,
so good though.
It's so good because she is fulfilled. Like, she is at her best self to her. Like, she's feeling herself when the ministry is completely corrupted. That is so.
She has no idea.
No. Like, completely
She's
oblivious.
Just like, wow, jackpot. Here we are.
Has a Moody's eye on her door? That is morbid. Like, you kept Moody's eye, who was killed. Who found it?
Must have been some ministry worker that may have been a Death Eater.
Yeah.
From the events of that night, brought it in to do the usual biz to keep up appearances.
Yeah.
And
she kept it.
And somehow she got it. And I'm sure, can you imagine just a segue of just like a non-canon. Just like imagine the conversations of the Death Eaters who go in being like, we have to infiltrate in. We have to do all these things to try and get in and like overthrow the government. And then they meet this bitch.
Come on in after you.
And like what? Okay, just cover up our arms, guys. We're good. We're so good. Like don't even don't even change anything you're saying. Just like don't show your arm. We're set. We're set.
Yeah, it's ugh. And I will say I had a new appreciation for the evil of her and the poignancy of book 5 after the years that we've been having. With the pandemic. If you're listening to this years from now, there was a pandemic, if you forgot.
Yeah. Very there is no Warren Bossing say.
Yes. Of it's it's like, oh, he's not alive, you're lying. Like that whole like denying of the truth and like the powerful governing Yes.
Oh, excuse me. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. That's
there's a couple. You gotta add in that. Yeah, it was so more poignant reading it in a way that I don't think was ever expected. Because that kind of stuff exists. Like that's obviously the inspiration for it. But it was just very poignant to read it this year when I was rereading it. But she gets stunned. She gets stupefied by an undercover Harry during the trial for a Muggleborn. Very satisfying. And that's like the last we see of her. We leave her stupefied in the ministry.
Which I'm fine with. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Totally fine. But what an impactful to rip everything from villain. Her. She's in like one book in who?
Okay, tell me that her music that just doesn't just like give people a visceral reaction.
Or her like her like little cough. Ooh.
Yeah.
So good. Played so well.
So well. It just, what? And that's why I truly think she is one of the best written characters because you can unpack so much. And she does not change at all. There is no journey for her.
She learns nothing.
But for her to be more scary and terrifying and more hated than the big bad, like, wow.
It's impressive. And she didn't show up till book 5. And then she is hardly in the other 2 books. So like she has one solid guest starring feature and impacts so hard.
Wrecks it.
The worst.
Hit home run, man.
So good. Oh my gosh. We love to hate her.
We love to hate her. Yes. Well, speaking of her job at the ministry, before we dive into the rest of our ladies to wrap up this little series of women before our final episode with our final lady, we did want to kind of like tip our hats to the women that we've passed by.
So, a nice toast
on our journey through. So like put on some really dramatic music as we honorable mention these women. So first we did want to talk about the women who worked in the Ministry of Magic. I would love to start with my personal favorite, Mafalda Hopkirk. The reason why she is my favorite random worker is because she works in the improper use of magic office for the Ministry of Magic. My favorite thing about her is that she sends 2 letters in a later book, and the second letter says, "Per my letter 22 minutes ago," and that will forever crack me up.
Yep. I feel that. I feel that at my core. I love that. Is she the one that Hermione changes into?
Ooh, maybe.
I think she's in book 7. I think she's the one that Hermione changes into to get into the ministry for the locket.
Yes. You are so right.
So we get to meet her for like a hot second, and then she gets to infiltrate, and she gets asked by Dolores Umbridge to be a secretary, but that's obviously not what she does.
Right. I mean, she's a secretary because she is sending out all those letters and stuff, but I don't think she's a, like, let me come and take notes. But it does make sense if she is the improper use of magic office. Dolores may see this as improper use of magic.
Yeah, that's true. I can see that.
Yeah. Who's your fave before we just like...
The fave random ministry.
Who's your fave random ministry of magic worker?
Someone who like, ones who have like nothing to do in the book other than show up. I do enjoy... I wrote down, and tell me if I've just written this down wrong. Is the name Wakanda? Because I have written down the name Wakanda and a witch Mr. Weasley talks to at the ministry with blonde hair teased incredibly high. That is the only thing I have written down.
Wakanda?
But I have her name written down as Wakanda.
There's no way.
Like, if this is true, if I did not just have like a mini brain meltdown and write Wakanda.
No, you're so right.
Yes. So she is my favorite random one.
Yeah. Wakanda is an elderly witch who worked for the Ministry of Magic, presumably a Department of Magical Law Enforcement.
Yep. Mr. Weezy just talks
You're
to her,
so right.
but her name's Wakanda, and I'm like, well, you're my favorite.
There we are.
Who would have known that would have, been a thing now? So
what a random name.
Yep. That's my favorite random one. I think my favorite ministry worker is Bertha Jorkins.
Yeah, Bertha Jorkins has a moment. She has a little.
Where is she?
If you
the
will,
entire book is just where is Bertha Jorkins? It's just this mystery.
Spoiler alert: she's dead.
She's dead.
Is described as just a nosy person who wants to know everything about everybody and has had who knows how many memory charms put on her at this point because she is so noisy. Yeah. And that is where we learn that you can reverse modify memory charms through her. But, she gets a full story. But yeah, nobody likes her. That poor woman. Nobody likes her. Like, Sirius is like, she was a couple years older than me. She was the worst. Super annoying.
And then she's missing and Ludo's just like, she gets lost sometimes. Oh my God. Okay.
Percy's like, it's a disaster. Hopefully she figures it out soon. Like, what the heck? And
everyone's
nobody
realizes, but not concerned.
Nobody realizes how dangerous she is.
Yeah.
Like, she's truly a liability.
Yeah. Gets a highlight.
She does become a liability. She connects the Death Eaters together. She helps everything that happened at the end of book 4 to happen. Yeah. Just by having a leaky cauldron memory.
She's like the inciting incident of book 4.
She really is.
Without her, they don't learn about the Triwizard Tournament. So
nope. They don't learn about Crouch Jr.
Yep, exactly.
They would have assumed that he would have been dead the whole time.
Yeah.
Jinkies. Yeah. Some other just lovely ladies. We have Millicent.
Yes.
Bagnold was the minister before Fudge.
Yes.
Griselda Maxime.
Yes.
We hear from, is mentioned just twice. She's on the Wizang.
I don't know how to say that.
Wizangamot. I can't. I always conjuncted it together as Wizingnot. But so she was on it with Tiberius and then resigned once the High Inquisitor position was established. And then once that left, she did return. Mm-hmm. Did you want to chat about Susan Bones? Susan Bones?
Amelia Bones. I like what I loved about Amelia Bones was that she was someone in the ministry that was trying to actually be a good cop. She was someone who was
and that's absolutely what gets her killed. But
100%. But it was so
she was
cool.
Great.
I was so upset in the movies how Fudge got to run the trial because she ran the trial and Fudge was interrupting. So you got to see Fudge's desperation of trying to control it when she was the one in control. So I really, really liked that character. And I like that Tom's described her as being fair. So we are already set up to not be afraid of her. And that she compliments Harry. Like, that's just so cool. In the middle of this terrifying trial.
Yeah. She politely shuts down Fudge a few times.
Yep.
Hey, I will have order in my court, please. Yeah. Wears a monocle.
Oh, yes.
Love it for her.
Love it.
She does have her brother Edgar was in the First Wizarding War and part of the Order of the Phoenix, and his whole family was killed because of it. That probably also tied in with her being killed during the Second War with him.
Asks Harry about his Patronus, is really impressed, is horrified when she hears about the Dementor attack, which we learn that Umbridge sends on him to silence him. That I always forget that note, and I'm like, she did that. That wasn't them escaping because of Voldemort. That was Umbridge sent the Dementors. So I just want to point that out. We're back in the ministry, but that's
that's fine
because and she doesn't dismiss Fig. Like, I love that she doesn't dismiss the story, and everyone else is trying to discredit this woman who's being brave and telling it. I really liked her a lot.
Right. She was awesome. I did enjoy. If you want to turn up your music a little louder for this one, Witch on the Ministry during the attack at the World Cup. She was reasonable and understanding. We know nothing else about her and we never saw her again.
Thank you, Witch at the World Cup.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. witch who presumably worked in the ministry. We do not know what department. Thank you for joining the fight.
Yeah.
While you thought you were celebrating your favorite team.
Yeah.
Potentially lose or win. We didn't know that about you, witch on the ministry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So. Oh.
And any other ministry magic witches that you had caught down?
I did write down Griselda Marchbanks. Did I get that right? The one who examines them did.
Oh yes.
Did Dumbledore's newts?
Yes. She only immediately goes in and goes like, "Where's Dumbledore?"
Yeah. She's a short,
like to Umbridge's face.
Yes, she's a short and little deaf woman covered in wrinkles. Is how she's described.
Yes.
Like incredibly old, tested Dumbledore. So like ancient. She's just like the ancient examination person. And I just like that she just shows up and like doesn't give two shits about Umbridge being there. So I appreciate her. We do meet Mary Elizabeth Cattlemore, who comes to the ministry.
Okay. Yes.
And her husband works at the tragic, what she goes through in this book in a very short amount of time.
On trial.
Yeah, on trial. Umbridge gets attacked in the middle of it. Hermione releases her from her chains. Her husband isn't at the trial because Ron took him. Took his disguise, and then he shows up at the end, and they end up running like from the ministry and getting out of there. But like she goes through like a whole thing in book 7, and like
she does not understand what's happening.
Yeah, like it's a lot.
Poor
the fact
thing.
that like Ron has to pretend to be her husband, and then it's not like it's a mess. So
my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Cattlemore.
Thank you. Women we met in the Ministry of Magic. Diving a little deeper with some maybe more important-ish characters. The moms of the story. Something that I wanted to mention was definitely talking about the moms. Because we do meet a few of them, but I do think it's interesting the moms versus the dads' relationships, which I don't know how I feel about that. So just as some drive-bys, Seamus has both parents, but you only meet the mom. You have the Grangers, don't have any lines. Colin Creevey, mom is never brought up. We think it's just dad. Tom, both parents are really out of the picture. Mom is dead. Dad's not in the picture. He never wanted to be in the picture. That's a whole thing we'll unpack in a minute. Peter, only mom is mentioned, so we don't know if he had a single mother or if we just liked the mother from Peter Pettigrew. Fred Wolfe was mom, but like disinterested, so he grew up with a single dad. We have the Crouches, Mrs. Crouch, who also died quite young, and there was single dad for a while. We have the Diggories, who in the movie, the mom is removed entirely. Yes. It is just dad. In the books, she only speaks to Harry. Yep. It's just when you like go through it, there are so many single dads and so many dads that are Luna. Luna has her dad, her mom had died earlier in the story. Dean, you find out later that like we don't know dad, maybe. Yeah. Okay, so we potentially have a solid single mom raising a kid there. But
Tonks has both her parents. James's mother is mentioned once about
both of them are together.
Both of them are together. Cho's mom is mentioned.
Her. But it's very casual, so we can't like
there's
confirm
no
or
determining
deny.
that. Yeah, isn't
it kind of weird that there's like this like an uneven amount of dads versus moms?
I think it feels weirder having known the fact that the author was a single mom
and that the author had a terrible relationship with her dad.
Yeah, it feels like that should be
she
existing
had a really, really bad
in a
relationship with
powerful
him.
way in the novel, and that's why I think it's more it's surprising that there just isn't much of it. There's a lot of nuclear families that exist in this world.
There's a lot of good mothers. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm trying to talk about. It's just when you look at the single parents, it's just weird. Or the parents that are more involved and stuff. It just seems odd, right?
Yeah, I think so. And that's what I wish more of that experience could have come out in the novels, because I do think that's a powerful experience and obstacle that could have existed in the book, and we just didn't get it.
No. Did we get what she hoped her and her dad's relationship was for a bit? I have no idea. Like she was literally estranged from him for years. Yeah. Like I don't how much they were not close. So I'm just confused. But now that we've like done the drive-by of the moms, there's a few moms we can unpack. Just a few moms that we can unpack.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
Yeah, Seamus's mom is easily one of my favorite side moms.
Yeah, like she is described as having sandy hair. You meet her at the World Cup in book 4, and she's really proud to show her Irish colors. Yes. So that's a really fun introduction. And then you get she doesn't believe Harry. Seamus has a really stressed relationship with Harry in book 5. So you get her opinions about stuff. And then you see her in book 6 getting in a shouting
when she
match.
comes and they have the screaming match.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I love that. It's just like such a different relationship, and we don't see that kind of family relationship.
Yeah.
And those are very real.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool for her to show up and like have the yelling match in front of everybody.
In
like,
the entrance hall. Yeah.
It was like, this is like right in front of the Great Hall.
Yeah.
But they screamed at each other and she's like, fine, you can go to the funeral and we're leaving. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And that she doesn't
really
get to win
cool.
it. She probably has not been a huge fan of Hogwarts in general. Now Death Eaters have come and attacked Hogwarts. So she's like, get out.
Right.
But
I love that she's also described as somebody who can weasel anything out of anyone.
yeah, I do. Yeah, that's fun.
Cracks me up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense for Seamus's character,
Mm-hmm.
and she's kind of fun. There's also, I just wanted to mention real quick before we get into Miss Not Riddle,
Yeah.
Miss Merope,
Yeah. Yep.
is Mrs. Crouch. Just a couple of things with her because she's in tears and faints at her son's trial. And when she is dying, her dying wish is to be taken there and save her son, which he does. Mr. Crouch does go against all of his better instincts and takes her to die.
Yeah.
She dies in Azkaban, knowing that her son, she potentially gave him a chance at a better life.
Mm-hmm.
Something that was interesting to me because he is on the ministry. There are ways that he could have done this and been sneaky
Yeah.
without having to be sneaky.
Yeah.
He never goes back for her body.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Since she has so much sway over him,
Yeah.
like Winky brings her up to, and he goes through so many things
Yeah.
because of her.
Yeah.
Even all these years that she's been gone. The fact that he never, is it like too hard for him? I don't know.
I don't know.
But that's just like something I wanted to mention before we get into the bigger
Yeah. And
troubled youth that is Merope.
Yeah. Oh, poor girl. But the fact that she had to watch her husband sentence her son to Azkaban, like that's...
Well, she didn't. She passed out and fell asleep. She fainted.
Yeah, that's fair. She couldn't take it. But like the trauma of that after and the awkwardness and the stress and the tension between the two, like I can't even imagine. So,
and then there are diseases out there like cancer that they can't fix.
It's an interesting, like very tragic story about a mom taking the place of her son in death. So that was kind of beautiful, even though it didn't work out great. It didn't work out great.
Right.
But what she did was very powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Something I did want to mention about Mrs. Diggory.
Oh, yes.
Is because she's only in book 4 and she doesn't exist in the films. What I appreciate about her character in book 4 is she's described as calming Mr. Diggory, being her grief being beyond tears. Like she's not a sobbing, wailing mother. She's a quiet,
because he is.
Yeah, that relationship's different than what typically would be expected.
Right.
She's kind of that stoic in grief, but just doesn't have tears because it's too hard.
Right. Turns away the money.
Refuses
tells Harry
the money. Talks to Harry.
Live his life.
Yeah. She's a very powerful woman, and we only get a small glimpse of her. A powerful woman in a very difficult moment, and the fact she even goes to talk to Harry after Cedric is dead is incredible. So we get her for a second, but it was a really good second.
Now getting on to somebody who is not a good mom.
Oof. Yeah.
And now in her defense, I don't think she ever intended to be a mom. I think I don't know if this pregnancy, I don't think was planned.
Yeah.
We find out through the course of many books, and then it all finalized by Dumbledore through various glimpses into the past with Pensieves, is that Tom's mother was a very inbred family descendant from Salazar Slytherin, and she very much coveted Tom Riddle, the handsome muggle who lived in their town. She then used a love potion on him. And this is where things get a little wishy-washy. You get this from Dumbledore himself, where he is just guessing what he thinks she did. So either at some point she ran out of the serum, she could have forgotten, she could have decided that maybe he loves me this time and didn't give it to him. Yeah. And so he was able to break from it and run away. And at this point it was too late. She was pregnant. She does die in childbirth, wishing that her son grows up to look just like Tom. And she does get that wish.
Yep.
But this tragic person
it's from the beginning
sets him up for failure.
Yeah, just from the beginning, we get that she's tormented by her father and her brother. Abused physically, emotionally, verbally, just everything.
She's ugly. She's all of
she didn't have a chance. Like she was just set up.
She never had a chance.
Yeah, it was rough. And she was able to name her son before she passed. Yeah, and she had to sell the necklace because she was, in poverty. And it's a very tragic mom.
Gosh, it's just so tough. I mean, it's like not her fault.
No.
I mean, it is her fault. It is her fault. She's written that way, but like she did set herself up to be there.
She still tricked someone into falling in love with her. And I don't know if she cognitively... We don't know how much she was actually really there cognitively. Like if she
must have been enough to make those potions, though.
True. Good point. Yeah.
She wasn't quite to the extent that her brother was.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, that's she was a mom.
Yeah.
In the story.
Yeah. Kendra Dumbledore was a mom in the story as well.
She was.
And she was not a single mom, but she was raising kids by herself.
Because her husband did go to prison. He was in Azkaban for a bit. And that is really all we hear from her.
Yeah.
She died tragically young. And she kept a child in the house because she was very ill, but didn't ever let her out ever. So that's questionable at best.
Well, yeah, we learned that Ariana, that she refused to do magic after being attacked and traumatized by kids, so that she was kept inside for her own safety, but also they never really got help for her because they didn't want her to go to St. Mungo's, so they were thinking they were protecting her, but they weren't.
But they really weren't.
Yeah.
Thinking maybe she potentially could have been dangerous to herself or others.
Yeah.
Who knows? But still, locking her up, not the best choice.
You should have let her go to St. Mungo's, and your husband wouldn't be in Azkaban, and she would be getting help that she needed. So,
and your daughter would not have died.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of things they did not do right. But another mom that exists in the past.
Another mom.
We learned the name of Snape's mom, Eileen Prince.
Yes, Eileen Prince.
So, we got a mom there. Captain of the Hogwarts Gobstone team.
Yeah, they fought a bit.
Yep.
And that home life was not good.
Yep.
So, yeah,
the mothers of the Wizarding
Here
World.
are the mothers. We told you, we're giving you the drive-bys and the most drive-by of all.
Yes.
Another thing that I did want to do a drive-by, much like I did with the moms, is the Boys vs. Girls Creatures Edition.
Yes.
Because I did, as I was reading it, I'm very interested to see the demographic of how she decided to split that up, if at all. So we have Hedwig, who is a girl. The gnomes, genderless ? Interesting. Definitely not intentional. The mandrakes are gendered. They're both female and male. Mrs. Norris is a female animal companion.
Yes.
Side note for Mrs. Norris, there is a headcanon that she is also in the same situation as Nagini and has a blood curse on her. That perchance Mrs. Norris is Filch's wife. So Nagini canonically was a woman, and she has a family blood curse on her. It is a women-specific curse where you can transform into an animal, but eventually you will never be able to transform back into a human. And Nagini is canonically one of those, but when that was introduced, there is a big headcanon that Mrs. Norris is also one.
My mind is blown. I love that.
Sorry for that.
Yeah, love the tangent.
Drive-by, but
Yep.
we do have Aragog's wife named Mosag, but all the other ones are just there. Crookshanks is a boy. Buckbeak is a boy. Ron's owl is a boy. Vila are only women. The leprechauns are described as only men. The dragons that we meet are all nesting mothers. We do meet the chief merperson, Mercus, who is wild and ferocious. The Sphinx is female. Arnold is male.
The pygmy puff.
So how does that pan out? Maybe that's more even than I thought it was. It just
we only see goblins that are males, and we only see centaurs that are male. Not that there aren't others, but that we only see goblins that are male and centaurs that are male.
Right. I don't know. It felt like there were so many more males because when you look at like Trevor the Toad's a boy.
Yeah.
Like all of the pets.
Yeah.
Crookshanks is a boy. You know, it's
really
like
just Hedwig.
All the pets. It was just Hedwig and Norris. You know.
Yeah, which are like polar opposites as far as like how they're seen. This is beautiful, pure white guardian owl, and then Mrs. Norris who's out trying to get you the entire time.
I don't know.
Yeah,
just a thought.
Just something to think about is how gender is used in the magical creatures world and how they're presented. A lot of female creatures other than Hedwig who are vicious or violent of some kind, like Vila dragging men to their deaths. We have the dragons who are dragons. And just, you know, from a dragon's perspective, how shitty was that what they did at the tournament? They put them through so much stress.
How shitty is what they do in the putting one in Gringotts?
Oh, for sure, that too.
That's straight up animal abuse.
100% where they make the sound and it like is in fear because it got abused because, that's a whole, not a big fan of how they're treating dragons in this world because they bothered these poor nesting mothers to be in a tournament and to go through all this stress. So I'm very upset for dragons in this world.
Unnecessary abuse of dragons.
Yep. And
we just want to give you a drive-by of the creatures.
Yeah. We do meet two tragic house elves that are female. We meet Winky, which we talked about last episode, and we meet Hoki, who gets accused of poisoning.
We get the memory from her.
Yes, we get the memory from her. She got convicted of poisoning.
And she was so old that they couldn't, she had passed before they could do anything about it.
Yeah, so we just get two tragic.
But that does even out the two other house elves we do meet.
Yeah. Food for thought.
To think about. So next we're going to go on to, before we finish strong.
Yeah.
Welcome to our randos, guys.
The randoms.
Welcome to the Randalls, the Wailing Widow in Kent. Wow. Gwendolyn the Weird, enjoying being burned so much she allowed herself to be caught no less than 47 times in various disguises. Ooh, yes. Wow.
Gwendolyn the Weird.
Doris Crockford met Harry in Diagon Alley and got back in line a few times to meet him. Yes, congrats. Mrs. Betty Bayliss saw the car while doing her washing in book 2. That must have been surprising for her.
Oh, that's a good one.
Gladys Gungeon, who comes back another time because she cannot leave Lockhart alone, even when he's in St. Mungo's. Huge fan of Lockhart, along with Veronica Smethley, but she does leave him in Mungo's alone.
Nice.
We never hear from her again.
Madame
Marsh is on the night bus.
Yes.
To Abergavenny. I can't say that word. We have a group of women who work with the Salem Witches Institute.
Yes.
A+. Would you like to? I'm sorry. I'm just like going.
No, I love it so much because I missed some of these and it's making me so happy. We have Galatea Merrythought, which is a great last name, who is the defense against the art teacher when Voldemort was in school. We have Moran, who is the Irish seeker at the World Cup. We have Mrs. Roberts, who gets torments by the Death Eaters as the Muggle at the World Cup. We have Miriam Strout, who is the healer at St. Mungo's and took care of Lockhart. Then got on probation because she accidentally gave a devil snare to
So sorry.
Mr. Bode. Not your fault.
No, that was planned. That was planned. You fell right into their trap, ma'am. Fell right into their trap.
Oh, like the sassy receptionist witch at St. Mungo's.
Yes.
Enjoy her a lot.
Yes. Thank you for being there for us. Thank
you. Doris Purkis, who in book 5 says Sirius Black is actually Stubby Boardman. In an article. And so he couldn't have murdered those people.
How very Hannah Abbott of you. Very Hannah Abbott of you. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Gwenog Jones.
Yes.
Who is the captain of the
Holyhead Harpies.
We do meet her. It was really
Queen.
Cool. And what kind
BFFs with Slug.
She has to really like him because she comes back to Hogwarts for a party.
We don't even know if she went to Hogwarts. She could have gone anywhere.
Well, she just comes to Slughorn's party, gets him free tickets. She didn't fit anywhere else, so Electo Caro was a Death Eater.
Yes, just the Caro twins as a unit.
Yeah, they're kind of
gross. Lots of twins.
Gross.
In this world.
There are a lot of twins in this world. Okay. I don't think that many twins exist usually at one time in that amount of space, but that's, good for you. She teaches Muggle studies in book 7 when they take over. And
Don't know what that class looked like with her.
Oh, God, yeah. Luna stunned her, so that was really cool. Oh, maid
of
of the riddles, cook of the riddles. No names, but we do meet them. Dot,
yes.
the villager in Little Hangleton who remembered what Frank was like as a boy.
And we have the woman who, I can't remember her name, but she was with Riddle first. She
Cecilia.
was with Tom. Cecilia, that's her name. Yes, thank you.
Yes, I got you.
Yeah.
Mrs. Cole, who ran the orphanage and got drunk and told Dumbledore everything.
Oh, that poor thing. We have one of the poor children who had to be dragged
Amy Benson.
Who was scarred for life by Voldemort as a child.
And you know what? This is probably my favorite random character that's in one moment, and it's Hepzibah Smith. She's the hoarder who hoards all the stuff.
Yes,
and
she's fun.
Yeah, she's a fun character that just pops up in book 6.
Yeah,
and has the Helga Hufflepuff's cup and gets poisoned via Coco 2 days after Tom visits her. So
makes sense. Yep. Checks out.
She's a fat older lady with a ginger wig and pink robes.
Yes,
there you go.
My favorite random character who is not in the books, she is the coffee girl from the coffee shop.
Yeah.
In the movies.
Yeah.
Where one day she'll go on that date with Harry. Just kidding, Dumbledore, take him away.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I did like that.
So, to wrap up some of the others, we did want to break it up into some of the people who were in the order, which will still be a quick drive-by because a lot of these people, R.I.P. from Wizard World 1.
Yes.
It is described what ways the best witches and wizards of the Potter's time that were killed by Voldemort, the McKinnons, the Bones, the Pruitts. We get one of the McKinnons' names as Marlene McKinnon, and her whole family was killed. And then we have Dorcas Meadows, who is an original member as well, and that she was killed by Voldemort himself.
Yeah.
An original member of the order that made it to the Second War was Emmeline. Emmeline Vance made it to the Second War. And then Hestia Jones joined the order, but was not an original member of the order. Yes. So we do meet them. Just some headcanon fun. Dorcas Meadows and Marlene McKinnon have been picked up and ran with. And they have been headcanon BFFs of Lily Potter or Lily Evans at the time at school with her and the Marauders era.
Yeah.
Now my favorite order member who we don't get to know enough about. Like, she leaves you with more questions and answers.
Yes.
Miss Arabella Figg.
I love her so much.
She is really not in the movies, but why is she in the book so much, man? I want to know more. She's just like the crazy cat lady for so long. She takes Harry all the time. You find out later she was putting up an act so that the Dursleys would still trust her with him.
Yep.
But what? She's a squib. Okay, we already talked about this a little bit with Amelia Bones. How did she get there? How did a squib? When was she brought there?
Yeah.
Was she in the order first? How? I'm just I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Who is her family?
Yeah.
That she knows the Wizarding world, because squibs usually don't live in the world.
Yeah.
In the Wizarding world, because it's just easier for them not to because they can't participate.
But she's connected to Dumbledore.
So, how is she so connected? Yeah. The first thing Dumbledore says is stuff's going down. Sirius, go tell Mrs. Figg.
Yeah. It's really important.
Why
that
is she
Figg
top
knows.
priority?
Of all the people to run and tell, you're gonna go tell her? I don't. Yeah.
What?
And what's she gonna do if something happens to the Dursleys? No offense to her.
Scream at Mundungus.
She doesn't have magic. So
call the Muggle police.
Yeah.
There's so many things she does. She's just, the fun, quirky neighbor, and I do enjoy that about her.
Yeah.
She does bring up a few times that it is his cousin at the trial, and I'm like, none of you were like, oh, he did this to a Muggle who lives in-house with him?
Maybe.
Who knows he's a wizard?
Maybe we bring him?
Yeah, case dismissed.
Yeah, maybe.
Case dismissed?
Yeah,
why would you? Of course. You did it in front of your cousin who you live with.
Yeah.
Then that's not breaking the law.
Yeah. They've seen it.
Yeah. So I also love the image of her beating the crap out of Mundungus with her purse full of cat food. She's so mad at him that he left.
Cat food. It's so good. I love that. it's such a character specific thing to hit someone with. Like it's just it's not purse, it's with cat food. Like it's just it's so good. It's so good.
Just cracks me up.
Yeah.
She is important enough to know about Dumbledore's funeral and does go there.
Yes.
And I think in the movies, I think she's how they got rid of her a lot. I think she's portrayed pretty on par. I think she did a great job. She looked like the crazy cat lady that you want her to be.
Yeah.
And fun fact about her is that it is canon that she actually, the cats, she had a very successful crossbreeding business with, she would crossbreed cats and Kneazles, which is a magical creature that looks kind of like a cat, but a little bit wrong.
Okay.
And she would breed them together and had a very successful business doing that. So she
Good
still
for
was like a little bit in the wizarding world.
Yeah.
So it is possible that some of those cats that she was using to help protect one of her 4 cats that she's protecting Harry with could have been part magical Kneazle.
I like that. That's awesome.
What a random thing.
Good for you.
That I found on an article.
Yeah.
On an article that the author wrote. Like,
I love that.
what?
Yep.
I just want to know how she got as a member of the Order of the Phoenix and is like a go-to person for Dumbledore. Like there's so many questions. They're never answered.
Never.
They're never answered. I would love to hear everyone's headcanons. I want to know.
Yes. She's a firecracker of a human being. She's great. And you know what? Fletcher deserved to get hit with cat food so many times over.
100%.
So
100%.
it's therapeutic to read that.
Yeah. Well, I would love to add strong with, I had written shopkeeps or working women, but I much prefer your name for these women, India.
These witches are definitely girl bosses and
yes
own the wizarding world, and I love it. And we just get little tidbits of them, but they're a lot of fun, and I think they really build out the world in a full way.
I agree.
Their shops entice me to think about what they like. It just feels magical thinking of them. So I just love that we get some good witches on Diagon Alley and in Hogsmeade, and they each get little highlights.
Yeah, doing all sorts of things.
Yeah, we get one line about Verity, who works with the twins in their shop, and what must that be like? I have absolutely no idea.
Get it, girl. We have we have a woman who works at Honeydukes. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah.
A witch that works at the magical menagerie. I bet that's fun.
Yep. Oh, Lord.
We have Madame Puttyfoot, who we assume exists because she owns a tea shop.
Yeah. Small tea shop, decorates it for Valentine's Day. You know, it's very nice. She's described as a stout woman with a black bun. Mm-hmm, so we get a little descriptor there.
Yes. Yes. We have, I wrote this in the wrong spot, but Madame Z Nettles is a squib. She is not a girl boss, but we can pretend she's a girl boss because I did not list her in others.
Yeah.
But she used the quick spell method.
Nice.
We have Mrs. Scour. Thank you for making all-purpose magical mess remover for Filch.
Well done.
Which did not work.
Oh.
So that then, Flitwick had to clean up the swamp. Celestine Warbeck, thank you for being a girl boss.
Yes.
And having a thriving musical career that I think is entirely supplemented by Molly Weasley.
Yes, very much so.
No one else seems to like you, but I appreciate you girl bossing.
You got the fan. That's all you need.
Did you mention Madame Malkins?
I did not. Madame Malkin gets this. She gets a horrible interaction in book 6 where Draco and Narcissa are facing off with like Harry, and there's almost a fight in the middle of her store. She loses
there's only
business.
one time. Yeah, there's only one time we see her not in her shop. Yeah, and that's at Dumbledore's funeral. But every other time, and it's both Harry and Malfoy. Both times we meet her in the shop.
So that's a fun turnaround. She gets to see both of them in 1 and 6.
Not fun for her, but fun for us.
No, fun for us. She gets loses business and almost has a fight in her shop. So
yes,
she survives. But
poor thing.
I did like that she scolded Draco when he said mudblood. That she actually said something when he used that in her shop. So good for you. I understand you being quiet during the standoff.
Yes.
Don't get in the middle of that. Love your robes.
Yes.
Well done.
Thanks. Now we wanted to finish off so strong.
Yeah.
Our favorite girl boss. And I think everyone's favorite girl boss. Madame Rosmerta, Barkeep, at the 3 broomsticks.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
she is described as beautiful and kind
Yeah.
and very good at her job and
Yep.
well loved by the community and knows all the gossip.
Oh, definitely gossip. I love that she's described as wearing glittering heels. Love that.
Yes,
I love that. Because also she's on her feet all day, so that's dedication. Good for you. We see her in book 3 when they finally go to Hogsmeade, and we get that she's comfortable enough with the Ministry of Magic to discuss things about Sirius Black. Like, that's really cool. That
I think people get comfortable with
Yeah.
her, you know, because like she is so open, easy to talk to. She's that like that classic come sit at my bar and tell me your stories. And,
Yeah.
like, take a load off your feet, kind of in a great way, Barkeep.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy her a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny that like Ron has a baby crush on her
Yeah,
because
it's
she's
so
also
good.
like not young.
Yeah, no, yeah.
She was
she's
an
been
adult.
around a while. She knew Sirius. She knew like all of them.
Yeah, she worked the bar when during the Marauders era. So like she's not young, but she's getting it.
She
guys.
still got it. She has still got it.
Oh my gosh. She is used a little bit to help explain things so that it doesn't feel info dumpy, but I don't mind it because she does seem like an open person that would allow for people to want to talk to her.
Yeah.
And she did supply all of the booze for the Yule Ball.
Yes. Yes.
She gets, you see a little bit of her like enjoying the gossip when she is filling a drink, but she's so enthralled by the Harry versus Rita conversation that she like spills it all over the table.
Yep.
She overfills it. Like,
yes. I love that.
I don't know, she's super fun. She does go through a hard time in book 6 because she is cursed by Malfoy for a good portion of that year.
Yeah,
so,
it's a while that she has to be under that.
Right. I can't imagine her not needing a trip to Mungo's or something after that to kind of like
recover
get her wits back.
Yeah.
Even just like therapy wise, you know?
For sure. Well, yeah, because she was a part of the plot to kill Dumbledore. Like that.
And had no idea.
Yeah. That's hard to deal with. You do see her ejecting a grubby-looking wizard.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really cool. She's just, sure she knows how to throw people out of a bar.
She has a couple of broomsticks behind the bar. So it can, like, she doesn't use all of them. So, like, how many has she confiscated? That's how I read it as, like, you are not drunk driving home. And, like, kept them.
Like
that's
the keys,
what my brain went to.
Keys.
Yeah, but there's like no keys when it's a broom. So I imagine her just like
amazing.
keeping them and like, the rando, the really, really drunk ones who just like don't come back for them.
Yeah.
And that's like why she has them.
That's amazing.
In my head happened.
That's a great headcanon. I think that's accurate. I do.
Because why else would she have that many brooms?
Yeah. I do enjoy that when they do apparate back from Hogsmeade. I mean, she's still in the Imperious Curse, but she is wearing a silk dressing gown with an embroidered dragons on it and fluffy
she sleeps
heeled
in luxury.
slippers. She's wearing fluffy heeled slippers. I love it so much. It's just a perfect.
She's in Did I Kill My Husband? Who knows? Slippers.
Yes, she is. So it was just a great image of her.
Yeah.
She was under the Emperor's curse and ended up being a bad thing, but like, you look great. So
yes,
you showed up today.
Yes.
But we
my
love her.
gosh.
Yeah.
We do. She, and it also, we find out later that it's like her mulled mead and her liquor because Dumbledore uses it to clink it against the Dursleys' heads in the last book. She's not just like manning the bar. Like she's also playing with making some of this.
Yeah. She is a true girl boss entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
This has been a journey.
Yes.
I hope you guys loved it and loved being along it with us.
Yep.
And let us know if we missed it. I will play the music loud in my head.
Yes. I think the only person we missed on my list was Bathilda Bagshot.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because she didn't quite fit in anywhere, but she's important because she knew the Potters, had tea with them, wrote Hogwarts a History, which we hear constantly throughout the series, and tragically is used as a skin suit for
gross,
which is so gross when you start thinking about it.
Gross. Yeah.
That's a feature in 7, really gross. Seemed very sweet in the flashbacks we get of her.
Just the classic old lady who lives in the neighborhood of the Potters and the Dumbledores.
Yeah. But yes, that's the only one I think. So, but if you miss someone else, because you never know, there was a lot of them, you let us know.
Yeah. Whew. I'm gonna take a nap.
Yeah, I need to rest. I need a rest after all that. But thank you guys so much for listening.
Yes.
We have one more episode for you guys, so tune in for that. And we hope you've enjoyed the season so far.
Thanks for watching, listening, because you can't see us. It's late. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Damsels in Dialogue. Tune in next week for our final episode of Season 2, where we discuss the lead heroine of the series and our favorite know-it-all, Hermione Granger.
If you enjoyed listening today, we'd love to have you subscribe to this podcast and share with friends.
If you really enjoyed our discussion, you can find more behind-the-scenes content, a peek at our research notes, and even entire bonus episodes on Patreon. Each month, we release a full after-hours episode where we will discuss each movie adaptation and don't hold back.
You can reach us on social media. Links to all of our platforms can be found in our About section. Until next time, this has been Damsels in Dialogue.
Have a nice day.
And fuck TERFs. This episode has been sponsored by Cullivanders Wand Makers, here based in America. You can find them at Cullivanders on Etsy, Instagram, and TikTok. Damsels in Dialogue is produced by Hello Out There Audio, part of Hello Out There Productions.